Greetings and welcome. My name is Mike Bankhead. I am your host. I am a bass player and songwriter from the Gem City, Dayton, Ohio. And today, on the third podcast episode I'm releasing in 3 consecutive days, I give you Los Angeles-based, well, to be more accurate, Long Beach, California-based multi-instrumentalist OriSoaring, who also paints. Yeah, this is one of the more talented people I've met recently, and one of the more effortlessly cool people I've met. I think you'll enjoy getting to know OriSoaring and all about her art on today's episode of the You Could Be My Aramis podcast. Let's go. You have many names. So the first thing we're going to do is I'll let you introduce yourself to the listeners. And based on how you introduce yourself, that is how I will refer to you the rest of this conversation. How's that?
That sounds good. My name is Ori. I am a multi-instrumentalist, artist, writer, all things creativity. I have known Mike for now going on several years. So we've had one conversation, and that's my self-introduction.
That's really good. And your elevator pitch was pretty decent too. Like, you didn't go into a lot of detail, but nice and succinct.
Keep it spicy.
Yeah. Well, let's take a bunch of those in turn. You're a musician.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know what you play, but the listeners don't. Is that a beer?
Yeah.
What kind of beer? Tell me what kind of beer.
This is a Voodoo Ranger, New Belgium. It's a New Belgium Voodoo Ranger.
Out of Colorado, the New Belgium brewery is.
Yep. This is a regular IPA. Have a little bite.
Yeah, I got Hennessy, so some brandy in a snifter.
Ooh, fancy. I'm drinking out of the can.
No snifter. Well, you don't want to warm up the beer. So I know you play guitar because there's one literally right next to you.
Yep. I also play saxophones, keyboards, and bass guitar.
That's a lot. How do you decide what you're going to play on a given day?
All right. So it depends. If I have a certain objective, I play for a local symphony, a civic symphony. If I have to practice, I have to play my saxophone to practice because I play saxophone in that band. Right now, I'm coming out of an acoustic guitar phase. So I was really heavy playing that. I feel like I'm going back into more of a bass groove stage, and I'm working on composing more. So, I play my piano more. So it's just different. Now it's becoming more focused than the last time we talked.
Okay. And that really wasn't that long ago. It's just a few months ago. So that's good.
Well, no. I mean, with the camera rolling.
Oh, yeah. With the camera rolling. The first time I met you was at a music conference.
Yep.
What did you take away from going to that conference? Obviously, we all go to be educated in the network. What kind of things did you walk out of that conference with that have helped you?
Oh, that's a good question. It's so corny, but it's never too late. But it's sort of like you don't ever have to stop going after this, and you can define your own goals and what this means to you. This quote, being a musician. That was really good. I enjoyed that. Yeah, I think that would be it. I think leaving that conference, I had to answer some questions for myself, and that was good. And then also just some of the stuff has become second nature thanks to that conference, and thanks to just staying in touch with all the, materials they put out.
Pretty cool. Let's go. Let's get in the Wayback Machine.
Okay.
How did you get started making music in your youth?
Yeah, cool question. I guess it started making mixtapes on my sister's Fisher Price. So I found out that she had a little microphone attached to it, but you can hit record and put real tapes in it and do real time recording. So I started making mixtapes, and I would come on and I introduce, coming up next is Bone Thugs and Harmony. I started doing stuff like that. Then I started singing songs into it. In between, I would have my feature, and then it just kept growing until probably 12 or 13, I was old enough to go to the grocery, like when my mom was going to the grocery store, I'd go to a different section of the shopping plaza. And a lot of times those were music stores. And then I figured out, oh, so I can make the music that we hear on the radio just by doing playing with all these. So that's how I started.
Bone Thugs and Harmony, Ohioans.
Some
No joke.
classic right there.
You mentioned earlier that you played saxophone in a symphony. So I got to ask how you started playing saxophone, or what was the origins of that?
Oh, that's a cool story too. I think we're close in age. I don't know. Do you remember Magellan, Eureka's Castle?
No, we are not close in age. You're a decade younger than me.
Oh, okay, got
I
it.
think.
Got it. That makes sense. That's why yeah. Okay, so there's a puppet movie or puppet show on Nickelodeon, and the dragon played the saxophone, and it always sounded so cool. As soon as that dragon started playing the saxophone, everyone started bopping around and having a good time, and things kind of chilled out. So I asked my mom, what is this? Like, what is like Magellan doing? And she's like, oh, that's a saxophone. He's playing saxophone. Everybody's chilling out. And I'm like, okay, I want to play saxophone. You gotta wait till you're in sixth grade. So sixth grade rolls around. First thing I ask her, so what about the saxophone? We talked about that. So she went, we talked to the music teacher. I was supposed to start music classes like a year prior, or that summer, something silly. And they just asked me, will you continue to practice? And I said something like dramatic, like the rest of my life. They're like, okay, she can come in. And I was bound in blood. So.
And look at you, still practicing to this day.
Still practicing. Sometimes with the same horn from high school.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, those things are pretty expensive, aren't they?
Yeah. Like, my folks got me a really good saxophone. So they didn't start me off with the bass because, again, they're like, so are you going to just keep playing this? And I was like, yeah. Yes, I am. So they got me a pretty decent one.
Yeah. Now, see, I haven't heard that story. I've heard a few of your stories, which is, I mean, I wanted to have you on because we're friends. It'd be fun to talk, but you have a lot of cool things to tell. So I figured, and I guess, you have enough of those beers, you'll start to sneak in a whole bunch of them. Another question about your youth. So think back as far as you can. What's the first song you can remember hearing in your life?
It's probably either the well, there's a song like, so my original answer, my first answer here was either Houdini, Wild Wild West, or the Pee Wee Herman song.
Tequila.
Yeah. Or which is insane. Or it was this lullaby from Lady and the Tramp. And it's called Lallaloo. It's really pretty. I could play it on piano. I'm thinking that might be the first song. So I think I was, I think that might be the first one I remember.
I like that.
Yeah.
Where exactly are you from?
I was born in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, the city part of Oklahoma. And we moved around a lot. So I claim Marietta, Georgia. So North Atlanta. That's where I spent a lot of my adolescence and grew up.
Now, you don't sound like you're from Georgia.
Used to. Used to.
And so I think when I met you at the time, you were living in Houston.
Yeah.
And now you live in LBC.
Yeah.
Like Snoop would say.
Yeah.
You seem pretty happy to be there.
I am. I am pretty. It's such a chill place. It's so chill. People are so nice. And it's close to so many other things that I like. So.
Like the ocean.
Yeah. That. And the mountains and the desert and snow caps. I spent some time in Texas, and that wasn't really my bag of tea. So just having the stark difference, like, I'll calm down. Like, I'm pretty sure I'm becoming obnoxious with it, but I'll calm down soon.
No, you're not. It's all good.
Okay.
Look, I used to live in El Paso, and it wasn't my thing either. So I get it.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah. You can get somewhere you like. Like you love how much you love Ohio.
It's home. And the funny thing is that a lot of kids who grow up here, all they want to do is get out.
Mm-hmm. But
You
you
know,
love it.
you're from a small town. I used to travel a lot in a past life for a corporate
Uh-huh.
job. So I've been to many more places than the average American, at least as far
Right.
as not lived in, but definitely set foot in more countries than the average American.
Right.
And the more places I visit, the more I realize that this is not a bad place to live. There are a
Yeah.
lot of places I like to see. I don't think there's too many places that I would go and be like, I'd rather live here than where I grew up.
Mhm.
Ain't nowhere perfect, obviously,
Right.
but this is a decent place to
Cool.
live.
And that's the cool thing. Like I think that right there is a life experience, and that's really cool. I don't really have that, so I bopped around. I spent my time differently, but I think it'd be really cool just to sort of experience that as well. Like that sounds like pretty dope to like be comfortable and feel good in a place that you grew up in. Like that's really dope.
Well, as comfortable as you can be looking like us in this country, right? Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
there are limits. But you know what? You have lived in a lot more places than I have.
Yeah.
Significant parts of your life in a lot
So-
more places than me. Because I've really only lived as far as I can remember, right? I mean, when we were a child, we bounced around a little bit, but I don't remember anything before like I was 5. But as a person, from what I can remember, the only place I've ever actually lived was just outside of El Paso, and that was only a year. I lived in the desert long enough to know that I don't need to live in the desert and came home.
right.
And like, I like going to visit LA. There is no universe in which I could live there. It ain't for me, which is
Oh.
okay. It's not for everybody, right?
LA is a different breed. I don't live in LA.
I mean, everything between San Diego and San Francisco is LA to me, so I don't know. No, that's not true. San Luis Obispo is way different. I've been there. That's nice.
Yeah. No, LA is wild. LA is jeez.
But I've never lived in Georgia. I mean, I think everybody's been to Atlanta, but I've never lived there. I've never even been to Houston. I would go. I got friends there. I need to put that on my list as a
You would like
visit.
Houston for the food.
I would. I've heard good things about this Vietnamese Cajun fusion they got going on there. And that just sounds like a good idea to me.
It is. There is some good food there. I'll say that. Like definitely some good food.
So this is going to be a hard question for you to answer because you moved around a lot. What did your childhood smell like?
Mm. Mm. Probably warm vanilla sugar. It's my mom. My mom used to wear this Bath and Body Works lotion called warm vanilla sugar. And also she liked the candles and the hand soap. So it was in a lot of different places, but it smelled good. So probably warm vanilla sugar.
All right. I don't think I know what that smells like, but that's okay.
It's an old Bath and Body Works fragrance.
When's the last time you smelled that?
Honestly, I wear something very similar now. Aw, so frequently.
Does it still remind you of home then?
Yeah.
You have an emotional connection. That's why I like that question because smells weird and that it take you a place in a way that other things might not be able to.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
I dig it. All right, time to get into your creative side because you write songs.
Yeah.
But you play at least 4 different instruments. So how do you know what to use to write with when it's writing time?
Oh, well, I don't write like an instrumentalist. I write more like a composer. So I used to always try to push saxophone in it. And now I always try to put some synth in it. And I'm okay with that. But I had to lay back from that. So how do I pick an instrument? It's not that I pick an instrument. It's like cooking. So it's a lot like without a recipe, you can go into any kitchen and make some food with the with the ingredients all around. Even things we don't consider ingredients, I'm sure you know are ingredients. The same as with writing music. It's like, okay, what color is this song? I'm gonna say it's like a light blue, but then it fades into like a pretty orange.
Now that one you're going to have to explain in more detail and we have had this face to face. I don't understand that at all. So I'm
Yeah.
sorry to stop you and make you go on this side tangent, but I want to examine that and then get back to the rest of the story.
Yeah, sure. So, all right. Sometimes I've taught music classes, and recently I've been doing that a little bit more. And I would ask groups, primarily children, what color are you feeling today? And they do all the basic colors. And so then I play like a lick or something. I'm like, what color is this lick? Red, green. Why is it red? All right, I'm gonna do it again. I play another lick. What color is that? More like blue because it's flowy. And so like the kids start figuring out how to attribute their emotions to these colors. And from there, I try to paint the picture, if you will. So when I say I want this song to go from like a dark, murky blue to like an orange, back down to like maybe bluish and go more orange. What I'm saying is I want the song to be sort of heavy, but also not too weighed down. And then I do want like this really optimistic part in this next. And then I want it to kind of go back heavy, but not as heavy as it was. And then I want it to kind of float off. The translation of that is the bottom doesn't need to be too like do 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 do. I can have like a nice bass, or I can have like it plucked or a marimbas. I can now attribute the instruments to these colors and emotions that go with the music. So does the saxophone fit here? I don't know. I'm just trying to make this song have an emotional, sensor to it.
When you sit down to write, what's the first tool that you reach for?
Probably my lighter, so I can light some incense and I try to chill out. Other than that, playing piano, like I just might doodle around on the piano. That's a good question. Yeah, I mean, I know my process. I know how to set up, but I don't know what I do when it's time to actually write. I think about it.
That's why I like that question, because we all don't do it the same way.
Yeah.
You talk to 100 songwriters, we all out with songs, we all get there a different way, which is why talking about songwriting is never boring.
Yeah. What about you? What's your process?
The answer is it depends, and I know that's boring. But for instance, right now, I have a gazillion voice memos saved on my phone for the past, and I just had a writing day at it. I won't do it unless I literally write on my calendar, write songs today. Otherwise, I'll find other stuff to do, right? So I've started needing to just block out the time. I had a writing day earlier this last week where I cleared out 6 voice memos. 3 of them ended up in songs, and 3 of them ended up being discarded because, sometimes when you wake up at 4 a.m. and sing yourself a melody and you go back and check it later, you're like, I sound like I was on drugs and have no idea what I was trying to tell myself. I mean, because some stuff comes to me in the middle of the night when I'm sleeping or first thing in the morning, and I just try to get it down real quick.
Yeah.
So there were a couple where I couldn't make heads or tails out of what was in my brain when I recorded it, but I have dozens and dozens of voice memos. So I have another writing day next week, and I'll probably start there. If I'm not starting there, and if I'm writing to a prompt, depending on the kind of prompt, it's either my bass or this electric keyboard that's right next to me. If I know it's something that if I have a good feeling that it might end up being good enough to take to the studio, I usually stick to the piano because I know I'm going to have to explain my chord progressions to a guitarist.
Yeah.
And the way I write bass lines, guitarists don't know what I want just from my bass line. So the piano is my way of putting in chord flavors. But yeah, so usually the phone or this, always these days, I write on this PC with a Google Doc open. So that way, when I get going, it's saved right to the cloud, and I can, if I get interrupted, I can come back later. Yeah, I've adopted the technology. You can teach an old dog new tricks, right?
We just got to move you from the PC, and we'll be good.
Nah, I like the PC. I'm very comfortable with the PC.
Okay.
Because Macs are bad, for me anyway.
I stopped keeping up. I had to stop keeping up. I surrendered to the Apple.
Yeah, I refuse.
Yeah, I was holding on, and then I just said I can't learn. I can't do it all. Then I bow down.
So when you're writing, how do you know when your song's done?
Yeah, that's a good question. When you're like, it's done. I'm done. It's done. That's when I feel like I'm done. Like,
You can't answer the question by repeating the question. That's not fair.
oh, okay.
You can't say you're done when you're done. How do you know when you're done?
When the only other thing I want to do to it is remix it. Like the only thing I want to do is like maybe change the genre or wipe it clean. Like at that point, I can say, good. Even if that's version one, you have to be done at some point because too many unfinished projects will give me not anxiety. I just start feeling bad about myself.
And you shouldn't. So the reason I like to ask that question is I've had writers tell me, well, it's never done. They're just the day where I go in the studio and I have to make a choice because I booked the studio time. So
yeah, studio time is a good way to stop it.
Right? Can't. And there's a point where you can literally no longer tinker. I guess you could record it and then play it different the next time you do it live, right?
Yeah, you just gotta. I just put the brakes. I just say I'm done. Anything else after this is second version or, like I said, a remix.
You mentioned genre. How do you decide what genre that you want the song to be in?
I have to work at that because
It's not, not all of us. I think we're weird in that we write in different styles of music. There are a lot of musicians that just do one thing and they don't have to worry about that.
That's so wild.
So how do you decide because you're writing on a piano or an acoustic guitar. It could be one of a million. You could literally do anything with it.
Right.
So how do you know what you want it to sound like later?
I've been working on that. Because the example I gave you, I could easily put in some distorted guitar in with that and think, but also we need like some choir or bell,
right?
Because it makes sense and it's what I'm doing, but I'm working on that. So my answer is I don't.
You don't know.
No, I don't. So sometimes they lean more in one genre or the next, or if I'm really trying to be conversational, it'll be more defined, but you gotta also make music that you like.
Yes.
And
you like a lot of different stuff.
Yeah. So who are you making the music for? Sometimes you have to make a song for yourself. And that song can have all kinds of shit.
Well, I think more than just sometimes, right? I feel like even if it's a song that we're going to sell, you should write for you first.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Because otherwise, how can you expect anyone else to buy in if you don't believe in it yourself?
I've written a song where it was supposed to be like a pop song, and it is a pop song. And I just look at it like, you're a bastard and a heathen and all of it. I don't know. I'm just like, it's a good song. I just didn't want to do that.
Well, then I feel like it needs some bells and some distorted guitar and a choir, and then it won't be a pop song anymore. Yeah. How much stuff have you released?
Sheesh. I took a break when I moved here. I had to get my life in order. And
I've tried to internet stalk you, and it's really hard. You keep it kind of low profile.
Really?
Yeah. No website, unless I'm just not spelling something right.
No, I have a SoundCloud.
I don't do SoundCloud. I'm old. I have one, but I don't use it at all. I don't ever listen to music on that. Well, I think we have a generation gap there.
I have 20 songs on SoundCloud and
all right. Then I got to go listen to your SoundCloud then, because it's like everyone's got one. I just figured that people didn't actually use it, like because I don't.
So you use Spotify?
I don't like the green people, and I try not to say their name. I like to call them the green people.
Oh,
I do have most of my music up there because that's where the market is. So you have to be there, but I don't like them at all. I'm old. I still believe in CDs and vinyl.
Same. Well,
I still buy CDs and vinyl, and not everybody does anymore, right?
Well, in addition, I do it in addition. I'm trying to hold them.
I mean, you really can't beat the convenience of streaming, but if it's an artist I actually care about, I'll buy hard copies. Like, so next time you drop a record, I'm getting your vinyl or your CD.
Same.
You need to drop one. We got to get more out of you.
I know. Yeah, I slowed down once I moved here. It's definitely a priority. I just had to, secure living first
That is, yeah, living's important.
and establish that and get that more moving smoothly before. But I've still been, keeping my chops up and things like that. I just had to refocus and reprioritize a little.
On all
But
four instruments?
all four, I'm leaning more into sync work and getting like compositions and doing scores now. I want to
Nice.
play
Well, you're in the right town for that.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's the other part about all of this is it's a good time right now because I can actually chart a plan of attack and keep my mouth shut and not have anything to promote or anything like that. I can just see how things move here and then be more calculated rather than running through the streets wild with an album in my hand or whatever I think I need to do to sell. But sync work seems like it's where it's going to be. And I learned that at the DIY musicians conference.
If it is true that if you can break into that business and get regular work, you can make a living doing that, which would enable you to then spend money doing what you want to make for you, right? Where you look, I'm not going to lie, I want to do sync work too. I'm not going to write pop songs to do it though, because I have some stubborn tendencies. Like I feel I do the kind of music I want to make, and that's going to reduce the sync opportunities. It's not like people don't sing rock and roll. There's just a lot less of it in movies and TV and commercials than that indie folk, indie pop. Hip hop's huge right now, and especially like for sports and stuff. It's always being played, and I like hip hop and I like a lot of that stuff. I don't like pop really, but I feel like if I make something that's not me just for that, you can see through it and it's not authentic. So while I do wish to be in that world, I got to do it with the music that I believe in. That said, I do kind of want to make a hip hop record. I just don't have. I'm not a rapper. I need to learn how to do that.
Oh, you can, you can define your flow. What is your rap style like?
I have no idea. So I don't think I have one. I can,
you do have one, right? So just play beats and just talk.
Yeah, I for me, drummers do beats. I don't even know how to play no beat.
No, what I'm saying is like they have like a YouTube channels where you can just have the beat going. And this is while you're doing dishes and just always be rapping. And then you'll find your cadence.
Oh, I gotta work on that. Like the writing part of it, I don't think is so difficult. But the delivery part is what I don't have. How about you? You rap? Do you rap?
Most people from Atlanta can rap.
You know what? I shouldn't be surprised by that.
But no, most people from Atlanta, and it's a joke, but it's also true. A lot of people have albums like casually, like, oh yeah, here's my CD.
Okay, that's just kind of what people do on the side down there.
Yeah.
All right, so you're from Georgia, so I gotta ask, Migos or Outkast?
Oh, Outkast.
Okay. There you go.
I didn't know. So is that a question that people are asking me?
No, I wanted to ask you. I just try to pick two Atlanta area rappers or groups out of my head.
Different generations.
Oh, I mean, I don't really listen to Migos, but I have listened to a couple of Outkast records.
Goody Mob or Outkast?
I have never listened to a Goody Mob record. Like I know who that is. I've never actually sat down and listened to a record.
Still Standing is a really good. A lot of people say Soul Food. Would be a good album, but I like Still Standing was the best one. That's one I own. I still have it somewhere. So
that's where I should start.
Yeah.
That's where the listeners should start. They don't know Goody Mob too, right? Go listen to Still Standing.
Yeah, Still Standing. Yeah. And the thing is, they were kids. Like when you listen to it, what they're rapping about, it sounds more mature than like you think they would be. They're all early 20s.
There's a lot of music though that's made by people that are kids. I think. Yeah. I mean, just look at the Grammys last night, right? But like,
jeez, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna be old man shakes a cloud, right? But we shouldn't be discarded just because we get old. I think the older you get, the more you have to say because you live more. But I feel like forever the business part of the music industry has forever been about kids, right? When the Beatles first hit, they were kids, weren't they?
That's why you recruit kids to go to the military. You can mold them and taper their voices.
I
And
feel
they're
like you're saying that from experience.
yeah.
All right, so we're not going to talk about that then.
The listeners weren't supposed to see the
Oh
actual.
well, so they won't see that, and I'll edit this out, but it'll be in
Oh,
the
you're
video.
fine.
True guitar tune.
That one isn't, but that one is.
Want to play a song?
Sure. Let's see.
I don't get all that many guests that have acoustic guitars just kind of laying around.
It so happens I have my music stand right there.
Oh, that's very convenient.
Let's see. I've been working on just different songs, just to know some standards. And by standards, a lot of Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Oh, don't play me anything that's going to get me sued.
It's gonna get you sued? No. You remember Tabs? Do you play from Tabs?
Used to when I first started.
Yeah.
They're not nearly as useful for bass.
I started learning to play bass using tabs.
Me too, but that was like 2000, like 99.
Yeah. That was I used MX tabs. Do you remember that one? MX bass tabs?
I don't remember that one. I used to just Google them. Or not, this is before Google. I used to just search for them.
I use mxtabs.net. That's where I got my bass tabs. I've been noodling on these couple of riffs lately. So the song I have in mind, I guess you wanted something like more like a song, and not just because I've been working on more instrumentals lately.
Oh, I was hoping that you would play me something that you wrote.
Well, yeah. So what I'm working on is
the instrumental's fine.
Okay, I'll give it more to look at here. But so if you notice, they get closer and closer as the night goes on.
Oh, I just forgot his name.
Roxy.
Roxy.
Well, I'm on her couch, so she's actually here.
Oh, it's the dog's couch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we took that journey, or took that road. So that's something I'm working on.
But you're not done yet.
Oh no. So I'm working on it. Just like I said, just having and then just going into. So it gives you more of like a Wild West, not necessarily Wild West, but more open, like country type song. And the words I have that go along with it are about just sort of walking on a road and how night and day keep going. And the only way you're going to notice what's different is if you look around and stay present. Because if you're in the past, the night and days can keep going. And so that's that. That's what I have for you right now.
Who are some of your major musical influences?
Uh, that's Flea. I would say Flea. Well, Flea for his performance, but Rick Rubin. I think Rick Rubin's a guy I look at as it's really doesn't give a damn about what others are maybe asking him to do. He goes in so many different genres, so he's an influencer. I guess early Alicia Keys as far as just being an instrumentalist and composer. I recently have been going back and listening to full albums, right?
As you should. That's how music should be consumed.
Of course. So one that I recently, and it's so great. This is why music's so great. Is I didn't hear the Stone Temple Pilot album with the cherub on the cover.
That's their second one, Purple.
It has. Is it purple? Because it had like a jar of flies in the Vaseline or the song Vaseline.
Purple.
So
that's their second record.
Yeah. So going back to listening to albums through and through is it's inspirational to me because those were the first time we were hearing music like that. You know,
for kids in the mainstream who had not been otherwise exposed, yeah, that was the first time that kind of rock and roll was like topping charts. You could find music like that before. You just kind of had to either go to college and know the cool radio station or go find it in your local scene, right? But yeah, I was a teenager when that stuff came out, and that was my first exposure to music like that.
What was that like? So that came at like the early 2000 or early 90s.
Yeah, Purple came out, I want to say 94, because their third record, which actually I think it might actually be their best record, their third one. I feel like their third one came out in 97. I'm going to say Purple was 94, but now I'm going to Google it to see if I'm right.
Okay.
You can do that when you're at a PC.
I can do it. It's right here.
June 7th, 94. Ding, ding, ding.
Nice.
So I would have been 16 when that record came out.
I bet that was cool.
I had it on cassette.
Nice.
I actually bought that. I have no idea where it is, but I bought that on cassette.
When was the last time you listened to a cassette tape?
Before I moved out the first time in my 20s. I have no idea what happened to my cassettes. I had a bunch. I got nothing against them. I just don't have anything that would play one anymore.
They sound really good. Like it's a very warm sound.
They always did. The only thing with a cassette is that eventually it's going to wear out because of friction, right? And since CDs, nothing touches them, they're not going to wear out.
Yeah.
Unless you treat them bad. But you can take care of a cassette the best you can, and at some point that tape's just going to wear down.
Yeah.
I actually miss, just nostalgic reasons. You're falling asleep to the record and it ends, and you have to like get your Walkman and pop the thing out and flip it around, pop it back in. Yeah.
That's a good time.
Yeah. And
always hunting for batteries. That was our thing. Like my younger sibling cousins, we were always on the hunt for batteries for our CD player, tape player, then our Game Boys.
Yeah.
Always about batteries.
The kids will never understand.
No. I remember one time my grandma took us to the swimming pool, and she was forcing us to go outside and be children, if you will. And we took our Game Boys, and she made us go to the pool. All right, we're at the pool. We all have our floaties on. We're standing in the shallow end playing Game Boy. And it was at that time that our Game Boys were taken away.
As they should have been.
Oh my goodness, that was a funny memory.
Where were you? You were in the South for that?
No, we were in Dallas, Texas.
That's the South to me, but a lot farther south than here.
Yeah, still hot.
Still hot. Well, I mean, recently, no. They've had a lot of power outages because of they're getting actual real weather.
I mean, because here's the thing: they get real weather in the summer. It's called hell. So it's just kind of sad that they have winter now and summer, like super summer and like actual winters.
Like they, balance. Balance is good. What's that stuff hanging on the wall behind you? I'd like you to talk about that. You didn't have anything you wanted to promote, but I want to promote those. So, for if we ever show anyone this visual, they'll see it. But this is an audio podcast, so you're just going to have to describe all that as best as you can.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So I have 4 paintings behind me. It's a matriarch season or series. I would consider them line art. And what I did was take what I thought the most interesting lines of several matriarch based animals. So there's I forgot what kind of falcon, but the first one's a very large bird. Uh, think of a number 8. And then if you were to pull that into a bird form, and the number 8 is prevalent in all my pieces. And there's some movement with the wings. And then next is an elephant. Of course, they are facing going the heads with the wolf coming up next, followed by a baby bear. And like I said, all line art, all original concepts.
I didn't know the thing about the 8. You never told me that before. Why is the number 8 featured in all your paintings?
It's infinity, and it's my favorite number. And honestly,
well, it's only infinity when it's on its side, right?
I don't know. I thought it was
no, I get it now. I didn't get it before. I mean,
oh well, okay. So I was thinking of a way to make these all have a theme run through them all. So what I did was look at the basic 8 figure 8 and then sort of build off and upon that. So.
You have a lot more than just those, because I've seen you do a lot more of them.
Yeah, they're all over.
And sometimes you sell them.
I do. More often than I share, actually. I've been recently commissioned to do 35 pieces.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of work, but commission means you're getting paid for it, and one should get paid for one's work. So that's cool.
Yes, it's for a sorority. So that's pretty cool. So getting into that, I've been painting for a while, but started recently sharing like in the last 3 or 4 years.
Define a while.
Probably 2012, 2011. Before then, I was drawing and doing a lot of like comic books. I used to, instead of like, my journals were not just, dear diary, today I did walk a path. No, it's like sometimes it's comics, sometimes it's just a drawing, it's a poem, you name it. I try to keep it interesting.
Well, you've clearly been doing it long enough that 1, you're good at it, and 2, you've been doing it long enough that you've developed your own unique style. I can't remember having seen art that looks like what you do. And so when I see one of yours, I know when it's one of yours. Cool. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. Thanks for saying that.
What got you, how did you get started doing that?
I always have done it. Oh, I know. So I've always done it, and I needed to decorate my apartment. And I wanted I wanted this. I wanted that. Because these were the first to the elephant and the wolf. And these are like the version 3 and 4. Like the first one did not look like that. And they've just grown. Let's say I needed decoration for my apartment. I didn't want to go to Target. I didn't want to go to whatever. I didn't want to go to a department store. I didn't have the means to purchase someone else's piece. Plus, I know how to do it. So I figured, I'll just start decorating my home with my own art.
How'd you learn how to do it? You're not born knowing how to do that. Generally speaking.
Well,
I mean, there's a reason that there's schools to teach people how to be artists, right? It's not something that you just know how to do. Unless you're just naturally gifted. Are you saying,
Well, it's a practice and also just a lot of envisioning, but I would say that I do take to it pretty effortlessly. Like, say for instance, the politics at work, those baffle me. but creating an original piece and having it be symbolic and have movement That just takes time, a little practice. And outside instruction helps, but with these pieces in particular, um, I just looked at the coolest parts of the elephant, and I tried to just focus on those parts. And then with the baby bear, I like when they go into a ball and roll down the hill. So that's what that is. I thought it was funny.
So between this and music, which would you say that you, I don't want to go, are you better at? I mean, do you feel the same when you're creating art versus music? Does it scratch the same itch in the same place deep down?
No. With the art, it's funny. With the art, I feel like I'm more forgiving with the art because you can always start anew, I guess. Or I don't know. I feel like with the art, it's more easeful for me. With the music, there's so many parts. Like I'm playing all the instruments for now, playing all the instruments, writing all the music, doing the mixing and mastering. So I've learned to sort of segment that a little better, but
You could also start over anytime you want with music.
exactly with the art, materials get spent up, so you don't want to keep jacking it up too much. So, did that answer your question?
We'll let the listeners decide if you get a lot of email or messages on something. Where can I send people to go look at your art or buy it if they want?
Right now, it's going to have to be my IG page. Last time we spoke, there was a whole website. I've scaled back just for simple bandwidth, but right now, just DM me. Like that's where I'm at with it. Just DM me. I have a link tree as well. And I am redoing a lot. So I am undergoing sort of rebranding right now. So my page is really the best way to keep in contact with me, even if you don't see anything, just know that things are coming soon. It's just really a rebranding and just sort of relaunching with new focus.
I will link to that in the show notes. Are you going to change your artist name or is it still going to be OriSoaring?
OriSoaring's here to stay.
All right. I figure I had to check it. And since you didn't introduce yourself with your government name, I will not use it because it will keep you a little secret. All right. So anything else that we need to promote or that you want to talk about before we go to the other part of the podcast?
No, I think we covered a lot of it. I hope
we did. You did. Yeah. I would like for you to have told me more stories, but maybe we need to be drinking more for more stories, right?
I think so, maybe.
You have a lot of stories. Thank you again to OriSoaring for taking the time to talk to me and tell us all a few stories. She definitely has more. And hey, if you were listening closely, listeners, you heard me allude to another podcast. Yeah, she'll be back within the next couple of months, but I'll save the reason for that for another time. Thank you, dear listeners, for listening. I hope you've enjoyed your 3 podcasts in 3 days. Next week on the podcast, more interesting people. Have a lovely weekend.